Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. Thanks again for joining us. We are joined by the mayor of El Segundo. His name is Eric Busch. Thanks so much for joining us, Eric. We appreciate it.
You're welcome, Brad.
So we know it's been very difficult for cities to manage their books because the monies coming in are so erratic and often down. But El Segundo has done pretty well, relatively speaking. Talk to us about that.
We've been doing great. Our revenue has dropped, so we're down to about a $52 million budget. And we just had to go to our employees and ask for a permanent $3 million reduction in salaries and other compensation.
I want to talk about that momentarily. What was your budget in good times, in the best of times?
It peaked out our general fund budget. Our overall budget's over 100, but our general fund budget peaked at 60.
Okay.
And it dropped down to about 52, 51, 52.
So that's a nice little drop that you've had to sustain and weather. You mentioned going to your employees and seeking changes in formulas so that you can actually maintain balanced budgets. I want to talk about pensions. We have heard time and time again that public pensions are becoming unsustainable. We hear commissions saying they're dangerously underfunded. The Little Hoover Commission, for example, said that, which is part of our government in Sacramento. Are you seeing that come into play in El Segundo?
Well, there's two sides of pensions. There's the actual PERS, the Public Employees Retirement System, and then there's the other public employee benefits, which are your medical, dental, vision, and those kind of benefits that you give to your employees. There's two long-term costs. PERS you pay in every year, and depending on how many employees you have and how old they are, you pay a certain amount.
Right.
The OPEB benefits, our city has an obligation of about $40 million. And so we've been putting money away since 2008, and we've already saved $10 million. So we're 1/4 of the way to having a completely funded retirement system.
For the other benefits, the medical benefits,
right,
not the retirement benefits.
Well, no, the city pays every year for the other benefits, and depending on how PERS does their investing,
I understand. That's
and
a
that
side
sort of
issue.
thing.
But that being said, you still got your public safety unions to agree to increase their contribution to the pensions.
Yeah, we actually got a
pension
9% reduction in compensation for our public safety, police, fire, their managers. And part of that was a 3% payment towards their retirement system. It used to be 0, the city would pay for it. Now those unions and their members pay 3%, although our firefighters have always paid their 9%. Now they pay their 9% and actually 3% of the city.
I want to talk about that whole notion of going back to public employees and seeking additional contributions. I think it's fair to say that part of the lure of going to a public job was outstanding benefits. You may get paid less, but you get great benefits. Now we're getting to a place where benefits they're essentially on pair. There's parity between public and private employers. And so what I'm wondering is, are we at risk of losing the lure of public service?
Well, I can just speak from my personal experience. In my private sector job, I don't have a retirement.
They are being eliminated.
And so in the city, everyone has a retirement. So they are still far better off than many people in the private sector. Now, what really has happened is that those pension benefits got very expensive, especially the medical costs went up very high very quickly. So those are starting to come down. We're seeing a ratcheting down of those benefits, and it will get closer to the private sector. But honestly, I believe that there will be a lot more Walton households in 30 or 40 years where you have 3 or 4 generations living under one household.
Interesting. His name is Eric Busch. He's the mayor of El Segundo. My name is Brad Pomerance. Thanks for joining us. Back to HLN.